Hello my dears, and welcome to another video. We have three decks to review today. Or tonight, whenever you're reviewing this. And we have the Dungeons and Dragons Tarot deck and the Deck of Many Things and the Deck of Many Fates. I am doing this video because it was a pleasant surprise, because I recently reviewed the new trailer for the new Dungeons and Dragons movie that is coming out on Friday. And to my surprise, I saw that I had the deck, and I thought it would be a nice video to put out before the movie comes out. And also, the Deck of Many Things and Fates is also D&D related, so I figured I would do a D&D flavored video for you guys. So we will start off with the Dungeons and Dragons Tarot deck, and I'll put this to the side until we are ready to peruse it. So this is the box deck, and I like that it has the stackability title identifier. This one has it all on each side. It has this if you want to stack it upright, or it has it on the sides, and it has this one as well, has orc on the side, and then on the bottom it has that, because there are times you're going to want to stack your decks, and it's a really nice touch that you can put your decks on top of each other, and you're going to be able to know what deck that is. Because if you are an avid collector of decks like I am, you will stack your decks, and it's very nice to have that touch to it. So the box itself is very nice. It doesn't have the thumb indentations that you sometimes find on decks. The thumb indentation is nice because when you're trying to lift up a deck, it's like the air is trying to suck the lid back onto the deck box. So you'll use the thumb indentations to hold it down. This does not have one, but it does have a very nice flip. So yeah, it's very nice. Let's see, the box is, the dimensions are 6.5 inches up and 4.5 on the side, and the width is I forgot to measure it, so we're going to measure it. So it is, let's see, it is about almost 2 inches. Almost 2 inches. So it's a pretty thick deck. And I didn't show you the back. This is the back, and it does have 3 cards as a little sneaky peeky. And it has all the information that I will go over with you. Publisher of the deck is Potter. It is Clarkson Potter, and this deck was published in 2022, and it does have the Potter. So you can go on to, if you can find their website online, you can go there. I bought this deck off of Amazon. There are many major publishing that you can go to find this deck. And the author of the deck is Adam Lee, and the illustrator is Fred Gissubel. I'm sorry if I butchered that. And let's see what else. The box with the cards in it is 1.12 pounds, and it retails for $24.99. And I will have any socials for Adam and Fred in the description for you guys. And so let's open this up. And when you open it up, it's got your guidebook, and on the back it's got, of course, the signature dice and dragons. And in the box, it's pretty plain, and it has the little ribbon thing. I sometimes like these and I sometimes don't. This, it kind of doesn't work too well for me. So okay, so we are going to put the box on the side for now. And this deck is very thick, so it's a handful. The cards are flexible material. It's kind of like a glossy matte kind of material. And on the back is the same design, the dice and the dragons. And card side, it basically is the same size as the card of the Rider-Waite deck, which is what I use for all of my decks. This is the deck, Rider Tarot deck, and that is the same type of deck that I use to measure out all of the cards to compare them to, because I do need a visual, because I am a visual person. And it's 4.5 inches this way, 2 1/4 that way. And so with that, if I didn't mention before, there are 78 cards, the same as in the Rider Tarot deck, and they do follow that the major arcana and the minor arcana to a point, and I will show you the difference when we reach the suits, the minor arcana, because there is a difference. And I do as a recommendation of what kind of level a reader, I would suggest a more experienced reader, and I will explain as we go along. But let's go ahead and show you the cards. So we have the Fool, Magician, and they follow like the Empress is typically a woman, the Emperor is a man, the High Priestess is usually a woman, and the Magician is usually the man, because it's masculine energy. The High Priestess represents feminine energy, so they just make it easier by doing it by that. The Hierophant usually is a religious figure, but this one they have made it female, which is okay. It doesn't matter really, but it does follow what you would normally find in the Rider-Waite deck. Here we have, I do believe, 2 men as the lovers. Chariot, very similar. Strength, usually a beast of some sort. Hermit, self-explanatory. Wheel of Fortune, got the wheel. Justice, you have, I think that reminds me of Joan of Arc. The Hanged Man, the guy hanging upside down, similar. Death, kinda. You have like the skull, but you have, which looks like the devil, but it is similar. Then you have Temperance, Balance, and you have the devil, of course. Tower, it's very similar. Star, yes. The Moon, similar. You have the little globe there that can represent the moon. You have the sun, yeah, got the big sun there. Judgment, somebody's coming to judge you. And then you have the World, which is a good representation of when you finish questing, going out with your group, who's ever left, who didn't die. You have your booty, your gold booty there. You got your mugs, and you're celebrating. And the World is a completion of a cycle. So very similar there. And so this is the part where it could get confusing, and I will go through it. So the minor arcana is substituted or replaced, however you want to view it. So usually the traditional ones are wands, sword, cups, and pentacles. They have switched it up to abilities. The abilities of strength, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So we will go through the different suits, and you'll see what I mean by you would probably need a more experienced level. And I think that even experienced readers will get confused and have to consult the guidebook to understand the card and what suit it falls under. Okay, so the first one we have, let me separate it out. Okay, so the first suit that we have, and that is the Ace, and it is Strength. Strength is substituting for the Wands. And what they have for the justification for making it Strength is Strength signifies your physical ability to move and change your environment. It is also your passion, creativity, inner resolve, and heart. These cards show seekers that they need to take action and focus on their inner strength to bring about change in the world, which are similar to Wands. Wands are, you know, movement, passion, creativity, pretty much the same thing. So that's the similarities. All right, we will go through the suit of Strength's flash wands, and you will see with the cards that there is not a lot of wands in the illustration, and it could be difficult to interpret what the card is saying, because I know that when some people do read, they look at the symbolism, they look at what's in the picture, and they use that in their interpretation of the card itself. So as you can see, there's not a lot of wands to help you if you were a beginner. That's why I suggested experienced reader level. And referring to the guidebook for the meanings of the cards will help. And we'll go over the guidebook as well. But that is the wand strength suit. Okay, so the next one we have is intelligence, which substitutes swords. And their justification for that is intelligence represents how the power of the intellect can shape our world. These cards show seekers how they can use their thoughts to shape their attitude and their reality. Rarely do we see the world as it is without our mind creating a story around it. And swords do represent the mind. So we will go through this suit, and as you can see, this one has, this gentleman has knight, whatever you want to call him, has two swords. That could be interpreted as a sword handle as well. And then you have somebody in the background with two swords. So the two swords in the traditional has a woman with a blindfold on, indecisiveness. So you could interpret this as the same thing, because there's two people in the background and having to decide maybe whose side to go on. So, oops, that is one way that some of the cards you can interpret. Now, Three of Swords, heartbreak. There's not a lot of interpretation there. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you the rest of the swords. Now this one is similar due to it could look like swords, but the Eight of Swords is being bound and feeling like you are stuck in your mind, and it usually represents somebody being bound loosely and being able to loosen themselves, but they are their mind keeps them stuck, thinking, I don't have a way out of this. So that's a good interpretation of it. Some of it can be interpreted. Now this Nine of Swords is foundationally is like stress brought about by fears. So this could be her sleeping him or her. It's hard to say with the picture, but they have in the background monsters. So yeah, 10, and then you have the rest of them. Kind of sortish. Okay, so that was the intelligence / sword. All right, next we have wisdom. That's substituting the cups. And let me sort those out real fast. And what they say in the guidebook is wisdom represents not only your external perception, but also your capacity to look into your internal world and see all the subtleties within yourself. These cards tell seekers to turn within and listen to the nonverbal language of the heart and the body in order to gain access to the wisdom of insight and intuition, which cups do represent emotions. So we will go through this suit, and these are the cups / what was it again? Wisdom? Yeah, wisdom. 3 of cups is usually traditionally 3 women dancing around with cups, 3 cups. So this one is similar. You got your little gnome. Six of Cups is usually childhood, your past. So this could be interpreted as a child reading a bedtime story, and he's thinking of all of it's like knight with the wizard, like King Arthur kind of thing. So that is a similar. Let's see. Cups are usually associated with water, so Queen is bathing in her water, and water is associated with emotions, so that's a very similar card. And we have the King, and finally we have the Pentacles, which is always last. I don't know why, but Charisma has substituted Pentacles, and they put in the book, charisma denotes a person's confidence, eloquence, and their ability to influence the material world with their energy. These cards show seekers that a flowering of their inner beauty and power is taking place, and that they have an opportunity to grow their self-esteem and expand their capacity for fun and joy, which is very similar to Pentacles. Pentacles is represents material, wealth, material things, or it could be that you have an abundance of something that is materialistic. Not saying that as a bad thing, but just you have things. So let's explore this final suit. I have the dragon hoarding his booty of gold, and that's basically the 4 of Pentacles. 5. He looks so sad, doesn't he? 6. is similar. It's very similar to the Rider-Waite. You have a merchant who is giving gold. It's the give and take card, balancing. 8, very similar. You're honing your craft, you're learning a trade, you're working on it. 9, it's the pirate. And then you have 10, which is a very sweet card. You have home, material possessions. To me, it signifies that you have security. You have all that you could want or need. The Queen, yes. The Queen represents grounding, home, hearth. She has it all, basically, and she is secure in that. There's the King. So that is all of the cards. So as you can see, it would be very hard until you have worked with them to know the different cards and what they're, I mean, the longer you work with them, I'm sure that you could figure things out, but it'll take some time. So this is the guidebook, and it is 24 pages long. It only has English. There are no other languages that are in the book. Some guidebooks you will have up to 4 languages in the book, but this one is English. It goes into how to read. It gives you, most introductions in the guidebook will give you little tidbits on suggestions on how to read. You have what I just went over was the explanation for the different changes of the minor arcana, and there are no reversal explanations in this deck, but a reversal is basically either the opposite of what the upright card is, or it's a different energy. So you could basically, for simplistic sake, just, you know what the upright card means, just look at it as the opposite. So for example, say you got the I'm gonna use it as an example. The Three of Swords. The Three of Swords typically is heartbreak. You are suffering from, you know, a breakup, albeit whatever it is, or a death in the family. It's basically a heartbreak. So if it was reversed, it would be that you are getting over your heartbreak. It's ending. Or you are over it and you're moving on. So that's basically how reversals work. You don't have to use reversals. Some people don't like them. Some people don't believe in them. They just like to do the cards upright. And it's totally up to you how you want to do it. It also goes into card spreads. It gives you some, you know, card spreads that you can use. You have your 1 card spread. You can have your 3 card spread, which is typically past, present, future. And they have a 5 card spread. And the 5 card spread is, you have your it is allows the reading to unfold fully and gives a deeper message with more complexity and nuance. And this is an example of a 5-card spread with some D&D flavor. Now your main quest, it says it represents the current situation, problem, and our objective. Number 2 is the unconscious, which is also typically your past in a Celtic spread, and they're using it in this spread, and this card shows what is working behind the scenes in the psyche. Rooted in the past, the influence must be brought to light to be utilized or released. 3 is usually what you're going to be passing into. So it represents in this spread things that you need to focus on as you resolve your quest. 4, the boon, I do believe that's boon, or boogie. And this card denotes something to develop or to let go so you can advance on your quest. And the top one is the quest end. This card is the resolution of the answer or shows what is needed to resolve the problem fully. I like this because you can also use this deck as writing prompts. Or if you are a DM, you can also use this deck if you are stuck on a quest. It's like the well is run dry, you're out of ideas of what to do for a campaign. You're like, or you are doing journal writing, you're doing a story. You got the block, the writer's block. You're like, oh, I don't know what else to write about. What should I write about? Go ahead and do the spread. And then you have D&D encounters, and it gives you ideas of how to use these cards in a campaign. So as you can see, you could basically pull out in a spread an adventure and creating a story. And it gives you a suggestion like the Queen of Strength. The party is asked to escort a political figure across the hostile terrain. The tower, the earth around you mysteriously begins to shake in a violent earthquake. Or the Ten of Wisdom. The party comes across a magical portal with a ring of standing stones. And on this page, it gives you more ideas to use in your campaign. And now, this part of the book you will be using if you're going to be using this deck as a reading or as a writing prompt or in your game. And I like this part too because it gives you, if you're unsure, it gives you the title of where the card falls into. It gives you the definition of the card, and then it gives you the prompt of what to use it as an idea. Like if you were to use the Fool, following your heart with innocence and wonder. Or if you're going to use it in your game, you encounter a gnome who says that if you follow him, he will lead you to a wondrous treasure. And it gives you all of the same thing through the deck. And then as you flip through, it will give you at the top, it will say the minor arcana and what suit it falls under. And it gives you the picture of the card, same formula, gives you the meaning of the card, and then the prompt of whatever it is. And this part you will be using, like I said. It gives you everything you need to interpret the deck. And then on the last page, it gives you more information, like I said. It gives you all the information, I should say. And this is the first edition, like it says. And that is pretty much it. It's very thin, as you can see. And it is the same dimension as the tarot deck, just a little bit smaller. But as you can see, it's okay. I think that covers this deck. Now we are going to move on to our second deck, which is the Deck of Many Things. Put this deck over here out of the way. All right, the Deck of Many Things and the Deck of Many Fates. I have heard that this makes some DMs groan, because there are some DMs that like to stick to the script, and there are some DMs who are like, yeah, I'm going to put a little bit of chaos into my campaign, and they might like this. I don't know. It's a preference. I'm guessing. So the box itself is oddly shaped. It's not square like this one, as you can see. So the measurements are 6 inches across and 5 1/4 up and down. Horizontal, vertical, I believe that's the measurements. The box and cards are 7.4 ounces. And the width, I say, is about 1 inch or so. And it only has 2 sides that has the stackability title. It does, however, have the thumb indentations to make it easier for you to open it. You just put your thumb there and then you open it. Okay, the back, it gives you a little bit of preview and description. And I couldn't find, I mean, I know that there is an illustrator and an author of this deck, but I could not find it. If you know it, please post it in the comments so I can add it to the description to give some information. But it is manufactured by Brybelly Holdings Incorporated. And I got this from Amazon. So if you want to go over to the Amazon site and check out details on it, there are 2 other decks. I can't remember what they are, but that's where I got this from. So let's check this out. It's just basic deck cover, and it comes with a paper guide. It just unfolds, and it's, you know, not much to it. And in it you have both decks, and underneath them you have description. Ooh, got glare. Okay, there we go. So the Deck of Many Things, 22 cards, and the Deck of Many Fates, 27 cards. Why they did it that way, I don't know. But this does come out. If you don't want this, you don't want the paper, or something happens to the paper, you know, you still have a background to it. All right, we'll go into that. So the first one is the Deck of Many Things, and this is the one with 22 cards. And the container, it is kind of flimsy. It's like playing card. If you have playing cards, it's similar container. And the cards have the butterfly again. And comparable to the Rider-Waite Tarot, they are just a tiny smidgen smaller at the top. Comparable by the card. They are just a little bit shorter at the top, so it's about the same size. Cardstock. It makes me think of typical playing cards. It's got glossy. It feels like a playing card, if that makes any sense. Okay, so I'm going to go through them with you, and you can see the different things that you can acquire with this deck. Okay, so we'll go this way. Okay, so I'm gonna try. The writing is small, I do apologize, but I want you to get an idea of what is on the different cards. And you can also combine the two decks together to create twice as fun, chaotic situations. And like I said, these are all things. There's people, but for the most part, things that can either hinder or help you through your quest. And if you notice at the bottom, right here, there is a key. Now, that is very helpful because when you combined the decks, unless you're familiar with the deck, you really are not going to know which deck goes back into what box. So they've given you that little picture to let you know what deck it is associated with, so that in the future, if you just want to use one deck, you'll have all of the cards that go into that box. And that is a nice little touch right there. Okay, so that is the Deck of Many Things. And then the Deck of Many Fates is what could happen to you. Different situations that you could be put into. And this deck has 27 cards. So you will have 49 cards extra in your campaign to cause plenty of chaos. Alright, so I'm gonna try, and as you can see in the corner over here, there's a little scorpion. Now, I don't know why they used those symbols, but it's just something for you to be able to identify them with. from what I understand how it goes, you declare on your turn, you declare how many cards you're going to use. And I'm not sure if there's a limit, but you know, to be fair, 2 cards I would suggest. I don't know if that's proper protocol or not. And then you have to use them, I think it's within an hour. And if you're like, no, I don't want to use that, can I discard it? Unfortunately not. The only way that you are going to get out of having to use these is, I can't remember what it is, but I'll tell you in a minute when we go through the guide paper, because it gives you instructions on how to use them. And unfortunately, I did not know about these cards, and if I would have known about these cards when I played D&D, I haven't played D&D in years, because my group kind of split up, and as life goes, basically we got out of touch, and sadly we couldn't get in. You know, it's sometimes like herding cats, trying to get people together in a campaign. So I saw these and I thought that it would go good with my Dungeons and Dragons tarot deck, and I just thought that I would show these to you. And these are also good for writing prompts as well as gaming. I mean, you could use these in a story. You could be like, hey, I need something to spice up my story. So you can also use those for writing as well. I mean, they're not just limited to gaming. Okay, so that one goes there, this one goes there, and you don't have to be as OCD as I am, but I like to put things back. All right, so this retails for $19.99, and let's check out the guide paper. And it just gives you a little introduction and how to use, a little section on how to use. And let's see, to use the deck, a character must first declare how many cards they intend to draw, then draw and resolve them one at a time. When you draw a card, immediately resolve its entire effect. If a card instructs you to draw additional cards, they must be drawn immediately. A player must draw the number of cards they initially declared, waiting no more than an hour per draw. Additional draws granted by the card's effects do not count towards this total. If a player fails to draw the required number of cards within the allotted time, the remaining number of cards reveal themselves from the deck of their own volition and take immediately effect. As in, if I understand it correctly, you choose one card and it is something you do not like, and you don't want to draw the next card because you're afraid of what it is. If you don't, it's going to show up on its own and say, yeah, you're having to do what I say. So, the magic of these decks is nearly unbreakable unless otherwise indicated. Yeah, what I was saying earlier. A card's effect may not be averted by any means except by divine intervention or the use of a wish spell. And then you have a note to the DM. Just kind of giving some advice on what to do in situations when you're gaming. Just if you're a DM, just gives you some advice. It's a little bit longer of a page. And then on the back, it gives you all of the cards and what it basically says on the card itself. So, for instance, say I were to draw out of the deck of many things that I drew a flame and a sun. Okay, so flame. Ooh, a powerful demon becomes your enemy. It seeks to ruin and plague your life, savoring your suffering before attempting to slay you. Oh, that's always fun. And the sun gained 50,000 XP and a wondrous item. So, like I said, it can help you or hurt you. And in this case, you can get rid of the devil by getting a wondrous item that would basically destroy that. So, and then the deck of many fates. Let's see. You can get a harpy and a bastion. So, the harpy, you or one of your companions is kidnapped by a harpy and flown to a distant shore. Oh, joy. And the bastion is for the next 24 hours, you are completely impervious to physical harm. So the banshee can say, yeah, I want some of that. I'm going to kidnap you or your companion, take you somewhere, and nothing can happen to you. You cannot come to physical harm for 24 hours, but the clock is ticking. You've got 24 hours to escape the harpy before you are hurt. So you can use them like that. That was just kind of an example of how you could use them. So I like them. I would have definitely have brought them into a game if I had known about them, but I did not. So I couldn't do it. All right, so got the two decks out of the way. Now we are going to go into something I've been doing in all of my videos. This is from the Crow Tarot by MJ Cullinane, and she has come out with a book. I do believe it is, off the top of my head, Tarot Journals and Spreads. Tarot Spreads and Journal. I would have to actually look it up. I'm just doing it off the top of my head. But she has come out with this book, which I will probably collect because I am a collector. But I did score a PDF that she was selling on her website for what I believe a fraction of what the book costs, and it was just a limited sale. You can always check her website for specials and the deck she's coming out with and stuff like that. So I wanted to introduce you to her deck as well as her journal, but this is only a part of it. where she uses the major arcana cards only and gives you a journal prompt area. So I'm going to put the deck there so you can kind of, that didn't work very well. Okay, we're just going to stand it up. All right, so I'm going to draw a card and kind of give you a teaser to the deck, and I am going to do a video with the deck and the journal in a future video. And the back of the deck is whatever your perspective is. It could be feathers or leaves. And so I'm gonna draw a card, and what message would you like to be known? I'm going to ask the cards for a message, and then I will show you the page of the writing prompt. All right, one more shuffle, and then just put that there. We have the world. And she does, in her deck, kind of follow the traditional symbolism of the Rider Tarot deck. And I'm going to get the page for you. And I'm going to show you a page of it. And it gives you all of this to write with. And I like the PDFs. This is scratched out because it kind of, it's not a watermark, but it has like your email address and your name. So I think that is a precautionary, so you can't resell it, because it has it on every page. And it is personal to you, so you don't resell it, like I said. And that's the only reason that this is crossed out. And so the page has a card, and what is about to come to a successful end? What will give you reason to celebrate? The world is typically interpreted as the end of a cycle, the ending of something, when something comes to fruition. And it is a different end as opposed to the death card. The death card is transformation. It could be a literal death, or it could be a metaphorical death. And if you do get the death card, it's not a scary thing. It's, you know, it used to be, until people understood it, they interpreted, oh, I got the death card. It's not, no. It's nothing to be really scared about. There are smaller endings like the death card. The death card is more of a transformational end. The world card is a whole cycle end. Something is ending and beginning. Whereas the death card, you're changing from one thing and you're transforming into another. Or the situation is transforming one into another. But that is enough tarot talk. And that is about all I have for you. If you enjoyed my video, you can buy me a coffee, or like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you can be notified of any future videos that are coming out. There will be more videos coming out. And once again, I thank you so much for spending your time with me. I know this video is longer than my typical videos, but I wanted to introduce you to those two decks, and I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I hope you will join me in a future video, and I will say goodbye, my dears, until next time.